Okay, let's go to page 7 now. We'll finish up some of the multiple choice. We'll go through page 7 and 8. Question number 28 says the ages of three brothers are consecutive even integers. Now, we said when we went over this to stop there and to create your let statements. Automatically, it's let x plus 2, and let x plus 4 represent either consecutive even integers or consecutive odd integers. Okay? Because there's always a difference between two. If I took a look at consecutive even numbers or consecutive odd numbers, there's always a difference of 2 between them. Okay? So 2 plus 2 is 4, 2 plus 4 is 6. 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 4 is 5. So these are going to be your let statements for consecutive odd or consecutive even. And x in this case is going to represent the youngest brother. X plus 2 would be the middle brother. And x plus 4 would be the oldest brother. Okay. Then we read the rest of the question, and the question says 3 times the age of the youngest brother. Well, if x is the youngest brother, 3 times that brother exceeds the oldest brother's age by 48. So it means that he's going to be 48 years older. So if I go ahead and take the older brother, which is x plus 4, and add 48 to his age, then they're going to be equal. And then this becomes the equation I have to solve. So 3x is equal to x plus 52. Subtract x from both sides. I get 2x is equal to 52. Divide by 2. I get x is equal to 26. So that means the youngest brother is 26, the middle brother is 28, and the oldest brother is 30. Okay, and that's going to be, what are they asking for? What is the age of the youngest brother? The youngest brother is 26, and we're done. Question number 30. Question number 30, they give you a scatter plot. It says the number of hours spent on math homework each week and the final exam grades of the 12 students in Mr. Dillon's algebra class are plotted below. Based on the line of best fit, which exam grade is the best prediction for a student who spends about 4 hours on math homework each week? So based on the line of best fit, which I guess they're asking you in this case to draw in. So line of best fit will be someplace in here. Okay, so if you're going to spend 4 hours on math homework each week, that's here. So if I go 4 hours up, you're going to be someplace around, I'll come over here, someplace in the 70 area. So 72. Okay, let's move on to question 25 on page 8. Question 25. We have which equation is represented by the graph below. And one of the things that you're supposed to remember about this graph is this is not a U. A U is a parabola, either that way or that way. All right, and parabolas are defined by anything that is x squared, so we can throw out these two choices. All right, this is absolute value, so it's either going to be choice 3 or choice 4. And what you need to really do is, plug in a couple of points and see, if we plug in the point, let's take a look at this point and this point and this point. That's going to be x equals 0. Well, when x is 0, we get the absolute value of 0 is 0 minus 3. Well, that's going to be a negative 3. And that's what this point is. This point is 0, negative 3. All right. If we plug 0 into here, look what happens. If I plug 0 in, I'm going to get 0 minus 3. That's a negative 3. And then what is the absolute value of negative 3? Well, that's 3. In this case, you're going to get the point 0, 3. The point 0, 3 is this point up here, and that point's not on the graph. So this one cannot be the answer. It's going to be choice 3. And again, that's just picking some points and plugging some points in and seeing which one makes sense or not. Question 27. Question 27. What is the equation of a line that passes through the point 3, negative 1 and has a slope of 2? All right, first of all, we have to remember that the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. All right, so if it has a slope of 2, this is what we're talking about. Y equals 2x plus b. That's a starting place. So you take a look at all your graphs, all your answers, and see if you can get rid of one. In this case, you can't. So which equation passes through the point and has a slope of 2? They all have a slope of 2. Now we're looking for which one passes through that point. So you have two choices here. You can either plug the point into this equation and solve for b, which is going to be what I'm going to do now, and then I'll show you the other way we can do it. So y is equal to 2x plus b. This is my x, and this is my y. So I'm going to plug that in. My y is negative 1, has to equal 2 times 3 plus b. So now you can see I can solve for b. So negative 1 is equal to 6 plus b. Subtracting 6 from both sides, I get b is equal to a negative 7. So if I take that negative 7 and plug it in here, I get y is equal to 2x minus 7. And that's going to be choice 4. The other way you can do it is you can just take this point and plug it in and see which one makes sense. If I plug 3 in, I get 2 times 3 is 6 plus 5. That's a positive 1, not a negative 1. Throw it out. If I plug 3 in here, I'm going to get 2 times 3 is 6, minus 1 is 5, not a negative 1. I plug the 3 in here, I'm going to get 2 times 3 is 6, minus 4 is 2, not a negative 1. I plug the 3 in here, I get 2 times 3 is 6, 6 minus 7 is a negative 1, and that's the other way you can get the answer. Okay, next we're going to go to our first part 2, a first part 2 style question, which is on page 9. It says on the set of axis below, graph the following system of equations. Okay. The way we're going to do this is one equation at a time. So we have two different inequalities we're going to do. The first one is 2x minus y is greater than or equal to 6. One of the things that you could do is try to get y by itself. And when you get y by itself, because you want to get this in standard form, I'm going to take you through. This is going to be a few things here to remember. The first is we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. That's going to leave me with a minus y is greater than or equal to, write the x term first, minus 2x plus 6. I'm not interested in a minus y. I want a positive y. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to multiply this by a negative 1, which means we're going to have to multiply this entire side by negative 1. So I'm going to multiply this side by negative 1, and I'm going to multiply this entire side by negative 1. That becomes a positive y. But remember, when we multiply a side by negative 1, when we're dealing with inequalities, we have to switch the inequality sign. So we switch this. And then this becomes positive 2x, and then that becomes a minus 6. And we're ready to go. We're in the form mx plus b. So our b is going to be a negative 6, and our m is going to be 2 over 1. So we started at a negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have our first point. Our next point will happen at, using the slope, our next point is going to happen at, remember, it's y over x. So we're going to be dealing with a change of a plus 1 in the x, followed by a plus 2 in the y. Plus 1 in the x, plus 2 in the y, plus 1 in the x, plus 2 in the y. And we have this graph. I can keep going if I want some more. And then what you want to do is you want to draw a line through these points. So you take a ruler. In this case, I just have my straight edge, which will be my piece of paper. And when I'm looking at the inequality, it's greater than or equal to. In this case, it turns to less than or equal to. So I'm going to, since it's an equal to, I'm going to draw a solid line through those points. Make sure it goes all the way through the plane. And then the last thing I have to do with this line is I'm going to have to shade. So I'm going to label shade. And if you remember, the process is pick a point that's on one side of the line. I'm going to pick 0, 0. And I'm going to go back up to the original equation, 2x minus y is greater than or equal to 6. And I'm going to plug the 0, 0 part into it. All right, so if I plug the 0, 0, I'm going to get 0 minus 0 is greater than or equal to 6. I get 0 is greater than or equal to 6, and that's false. So I'm going to shade the other side. And then once I shade that side, I'm going to label that side. Sorry, I'm going to turn it. So you can see it. I label that side of the line 2x minus y is greater than or equal to 6. Okay? All right. Our second equation is just x is greater than 2. And we talked about this as well. If you just have one variable, you're either going to be a horizontal line or a vertical line. Remember, when you have just x equals 2 or x is just greater than 2, you're coming to 2 on the x-axis, and then you're finding all points that have an x coordinate of 2. That's it. X is only allowed to be 2. And those are those points there, so you can see that this is going to be a vertical line. So we take a ruler out. Remember, it's going to be dashed because it's just greater than 2. You line your points up. You draw your dashed line all the way through. All right, and then you're going to use your test point. I'm going to plug 0 in. Is 0 greater than 2? And that's false. This is my shading piece. Again, using 0, 0. That's false. So I'm not going to shade the side of the line that 0 came from. I'm going to shade the other side. And I'm going to label my solution set S. The question says, and state the coordinates of a point in the solution set. You can state any of these coordinates. Let me state this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. So a point in the solution set would be 7, 2. You label it here, maybe put a box around it here or put a box around it here, and you're good. 7, 2, and that's that.